Good afternoon. It's another Friday afternoon, and it's a little bit cooler this Friday than it was last Friday. But nevertheless, it is indeed a Friday. And I am always excited because it gives me an opportunity to interact with the most interactive talk show, television talk show, Hotline 21. All of you out there, just kind of rear back, get yourself a little cup of tea, and let's find out what's going on in our world. I almost hate to have to just talk about what the president is doing every week. But you know, this tweeting and communicating, of course, it's a new way of communicating. The tweet, well, you know, tweet is something. But at any rate, we're going to do all right. We've still got violence going on in the city of Chicago. As a matter of fact, I have a funeral. I got two funerals Saturday morning that I will try and attend. One is a 20-year-old young cousin of mine. As a matter of fact, his father and I and his aunts and uncles, all of us grew up together in Arkansas. Our families were very closely knitted. We attended church together, CME, Pennis Chapel Church. And of course, we all went to school together because there was only one school. And so if you went to school, that's where you went to school. So I want to just kick out and throw out some condolences to my cousins, and I'll call them the Hudson's family. This young man, my classmate, is his grandfather. And so it was good to talk to him the other day. But we'll do what we have to do, and we'll do what we can. And we keep hoping and praying that this violent trend that has emerged in Chicago will stop. I understand the president is still saying he will do something, and I don't want any troops. I think that's a fallacy. I think that's going to the extreme, and quite frankly, I think that's a whole bunch of BS. That's what I think that is. Poverty, at its core, has some causes. And one of the most profound and pronounced cause of poverty is poverty, as far as I'm concerned. If people are living happily, they have jobs and opportunity to work, they are brought up with certain traditions and ideas, then they don't feel the need to interrupt or disrupt the life of others. But at any rate, we got other things that we can talk about. And let's talk with our guest who is in the studio with us. And I'm going to ask you to just introduce yourself to our listening audience.
Thank you so much, Congressman Danny Davis. I'm thrilled to be here. My name is Mimi Crabtree, and I'm the Executive Director of JDRF Illinois. It's a nonprofit organization that works to find a cure for type 1 diabetes. And so it's great to have the opportunity to talk with you and with the people listening in about the issues of diabetes in this community and what we can do to work together to find a cure.
Well, when you walk in my office in Washington, D.C., the first thing that you see is a photograph of two young ladies whose father has been bringing them every year for the last several years. They have grown significantly because he started bringing them when they were little girls like this, and now they are girls like this. And he brings them because they are type 1 diabetics, but he's always wanted to teach them about the disease and let them know how they can help themselves and what they can do. So would you share with our audience some of what he, in all likelihood, has been telling his daughters since they could hear?
Absolutely. And first, I want to thank you because we've had the opportunity to be in the Congressman's office in Washington and have those conversations. I actually know the photo that you're talking about as I was there last year. But first, let's start with the difference between type 1 and type 2 diabetes. Basically, diabetes is a disease where there is a lack of insulin, but it separates there. And type 1, you do not produce insulin. At some point in your life, for some reason that unfortunately we don't know right now, your body, your pancreas, stops producing insulin. With type 2 diabetes, similar situation, the only difference is you are producing insulin, just not enough. And so there are some things that you can do lifestyle-wise to control that. But with type 1 diabetes, it used to be called juvenile diabetes. Most of the people who got the disease were getting it as young kids. We're finding now that, first of all, people are living longer thanks to the research and new technologies that we have. But also people are getting diagnosed at all ages. It really does not discriminate. And so it's becoming a bigger issue in this country. Diabetes certainly is a huge issue in this country in terms of the people impacted by it. So what can you do? Unfortunately, you really can't do much to change it. You're going to have this disease. You'll have it the rest of your life. But what we do at JDRF is find ways to work with families to have a better quality of life and to ultimately find a cure. And the way you have a better quality of life, unfortunately, makes it a tough life. You're going to wake up in the morning, you're going to have to prick your finger, you're going to have to test your blood, you're going to have to, before you leave the house, pack up everything that you need that day, from snacks to medicine to emergency supplies and so forth. And throughout the day, you will be thinking about your disease about every 2 hours at a minimum in order to control the level of insulin that you have in your body. And if you get low, and all of this is being put in either by a shot or by a pump, you will have to manage that throughout the day to keep it level. And then when you go to sleep, unfortunately, the issue becomes even more significant because it's hard to go 8 hours without insulin. So families are waking up in the middle of the night and giving their children shots, or the adults are finding that, they've got to have a partner there, making sure they don't miss the alarm because every 2 hours somebody is going to have some kind of issue. So it's a challenge. And tell me, so this family, are they doing well?
They are indeed, and they get further instructions while they're there. Let me tell you, when I was diagnosed as a type 2 diabetic, I had gone to Israel, and it was quite hot, and I was thirsty as thirsty.
Right.
I was drinking water and orange juice, though. I was drinking water and juice. When I got back, I said, I guess I better go to the doctor. And I went to the doctor, and she says, how long have you been diabetic? And I said, diabetic? She said, yeah, you're diabetic. I said, that's amazing. I'd been pretty good all the time whenever I went. My blood pressure was great, 120/80.
That is good.
Just like a rock, just solid. Other than being thirsty, I wasn't having any other real challenges of any kind. She says, well, you are an African-American male, aren't you? And I says, yeah. She said, you are over 50. I say, yeah. She said, well, it's not uncommon at all for people you.
Right. 29 million people in the country have diabetes. And with children, one of the ways that they get diagnosed is the same thing. They complain about being thirsty, or they're going to the bathroom too often, they're losing weight, or they're very, very tired. And so a lot of times they'll go to the doctor, and the doctor will say, well, that must be the flu. Or or just send them home and just take a look at them. And the challenge is, it can go from just a simple flu-like symptom to a hospital emergency situation. You're lucky that you got yours diagnosed and under control quickly, because without the insulin, your body basically shuts down. It is the hormone that makes everything in your body sort of happen, as you know.
Well, my son didn't call me. I called him because some associates of mine told me, well, Stacy went to the hospital. I said, the hospital? Turns out I called him. He was in the hospital. And he said he had diabetes. And they were checking him out, trying to get his blood pressure down. And so you can't check too much. I mean, I always say that an ounce of prevention is worth much more than a pound of cure. And so if you get any of these symptoms,
Right.
even if you had not been to see a physician, you know that you've got the symptoms, and you should avail yourself to a clinic, a physician, a hospital, someplace where the people can tell you whether or not you've got the disease and what it is that you ought to do about it. I'm saying just knowing
Right.
is not enough. There's something that
You can do, right.
you ought to do.
Yeah. And it's not a difficult test. I mean, that's the other thing, is if you can get people to go, it will be very quickly diagnosed. It's a very obvious thing. The thing that always amazes me is that when you have type 1 diabetes and you go into the hospital, you don't come out for 3 days, and the reason for that is it's all education. They know that to take somebody home and teach them how to give shots and how to watch their kid and how to figure out what they can eat and what they cannot eat can't happen overnight. And with hospitals, they're trying to move you out of a hospital as quickly as possible, but that just sort of shows you what type 1 diabetes really is.
And of course, if you don't take care of it and check it out, then you're more than likely going to end up at some point with kidney problems.
Right.
I think I may have more dialysis going on in my congressional district because I have tremendous numbers of people. I think in one community, North Lawndale,
Right.
if you meet 3 or 4 people on the street or at church or you're talking to them, one of those are likely to be diabetic.
True. I just read that. It was just in I can't remember where it was just printed up that they were saying North Lawndale was really showing the highest symptoms for diabetes in the Chicago area. And so you can have, with diabetes, as you know, eye problems, you can have kidney problems, it can stress your heart and then create heart problems. So, yeah, taking a look at what the issues are and addressing it is really critical.
Some people don't know community area boundaries and all of that, and it doesn't have to just be exactly, it's an area,
Right.
it's a lifestyle, it's obesity, it's eating the wrong stuff. And Lord, please don't let your children eat these flaming hots and stuff for breakfast.
Right.
I sometimes stop at one of these little stores to get gasoline on my way to work. And it just breaks my heart because I see people getting their children something to eat before they go to school, and they get flaming hots and red hots and
Yeah.
whatever kind of hots. Well, I certainly can't tell anybody what to eat because I made the mistake of putting a TV dinner in the oven last night. And I couldn't open the door to get it out. So I ran upstairs calling my wife. And she said, "Dummy, you put the thing on clean." And
now it's not going to open.
And all you can do is just wait for whatever you got in there to burn up.
Yeah.
And I was just looking forward to, I was hungry.
Yeah.
I was looking forward to this one little Salisbury steak, I think, that also got a vegetable in it, corn.
Yeah.
And I had the newspaper.
You were set.
And all set to do my favorite thing. It didn't work. That's all
Yeah.
I can say. So
Yeah,
That
but
was-
I agree. I mean, I'm glad you preach that because I think that talking about nutrition and talking about good lifestyle things, regardless of whether or not you have a disease or not, is just so critical. I mean, this is where we're going to have issues if we don't figure out a way to have quality lifestyles that avoid these diseases.
Well, thank you so very much. Thank you for what you and the organization that you work with are doing. And you got to know that you're very helpful to thousands and thousands of people who get the information. I thank you for joining us this afternoon, and hopefully I'll see you again. You'll
Absolutely.
keep on promoting and lobbying.
Thank you.
And to all of our viewers, have a great week, have a great weekend. Do something good for yourself and do something even better for others. We'll see you next week. All right.